Hello, everybody. Welcome to Responsible Gaming. Welcome to the first episode of The Responsibles. We're gonna be doing reviews, and today we're gonna reviewing Ready Player One. It's a book. I hope you know, otherwise you're not gonna understand much of what's going on tonight. I am Ominous. I'll be your host tonight. You might know me from just about everything that's happening on this channel, so I'm not even gonna introduce myself because I'm that famous. And tonight I have Thiago, Mr. T. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me here. This is a fantastic opportunity to talk of one of my favorite books. So
It's exciting.
yeah, it's fantastic.
I have as well on the line tonight, Tansbot, the Dancebot. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on the podcast as well. Pretty excited to discuss this book. Lots of cool stuff going on in it.
Yes. Okay. Let's get down to it. We got some technical difficulties. We're very excited to finally get down to it. I think we should start by introducing the book, which happens to be a book from 2011 from Mr. Ernest Cline over here. And I hear that Thiago has a synopsis for you, so I'm gonna let you do that. Tell us.
All right, let's follow Wikipedia, guys. There you go, and prepare for the deep voice.
Mm-hmm.
In the year 2044, really is an ugly place.
Sounds like the future.
The only time teenager Wade Watts really feels alive is when he's jacketed into the virtual utopia known as the Oasis. Wade's developed his life to studying the puzzles hidden within this world digital confidence. Puzzles that are based on their creators' obsession with the pop culture of decades past and that promise massive power and fortune to whoever can unlock them. But when Wade stumbles upon the first clue, he finds himself bested by players willing to take his ultimate prize. The race is on, and Wade's going to survive. He will have to win and confront the real world he's always been so desperate to escape.
So,
How that goes.
if you've never heard about that book, good freaking luck. I couldn't understand just everything because of the big voice. So in case, yeah.
I also thought when he was talking about pop cultures of decades past, I pretty much heard decades of ass. So
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's not
it's-
the
I think it was
It's not-
solid.
Yeah, the thing is, I never read the synopsis before. My accent didn't allow me to read properly, and my lack of knowledge on this damn text also. So, but
understand.
well, it was fun.
So just in case, we're looking at Ready Player One. The book mostly revolves around the idea of this like MMORPG style universe, virtual reality universe. Just about everybody is plugged into it, and there is this big contest organized by the creator of the game that's going to revolve all around the pop culture from that person's era, which happens to be early 80s basically onwards, early 80s to like maybe early 90s, and then we'll see next, but every now and then there is more recent stuff. And the contest is organized so that the entire legacy of the Oasis and the fortune that's behind it is going to be given to the person who discovers the Easter egg that is hidden inside the game by its creator. So we're going to follow basically Wade Watts, which I just forgot is called Z in the book, in his quest to discover the Easter egg. Whew. All right. So now we can start.
Well done.
Now we can start. I improvised an extra topic here. How do you guys feel about the depiction of the future in the book? Basically, it's post-apocalyptic. Everything. Oh, very quick disclaimer. Spoilers will come a little later on. We'll warn you if you don't want to learn things that you don't know because you haven't read the book. But for now, we're just going to try and keep it spoiler-free and talk about a bunch of stuff first. So, synopsis alert, the future is kind of screwed. No resources, no nothing. Everybody's poor, basically. Global warming, I think, if I remember well. And just about everybody is logged onto the Oasis where they live most of their life, second lifestyle in this virtual reality world. So we don't spend a lot of time in the actual real world. Anything you guys have picked up on the depiction of like the reality, the science fiction part of the future, the description of the world in the book that you noticed?
Well,
I almost.
go ahead. No, please.
Well, I almost felt like it was convenient, like too conveniently dystopian. It's like it's almost there just as like a frame to kind of plug in the Oasis and then talk about the Oasis. There's not that much when you think about the way Klein sort of writes it. There's not that much explanation or justification for why the world's gone to such shit. And maybe it's not needed. Maybe it's a given that by like 2044 we'll just mess everything up. But I mean, it just felt too convenient. It's like, oh yeah, everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. And now we've all escaped into the Oasis.
Yeah, I imagine, I mean, yeah, it's like a retcon of, you know, it's going to be the virtual reality world, and we don't really care about the real world anyways, so, yeah, the world is kind of dumb, like, the world is kind of super lame, so it's kind of Matrix style as well, like, everything is fantastic in the Oasis, everything is crap in the real world, so everybody's in the Matrix, and you could have been interesting that they go in and out, but that's not that sort of book at all, like, it's all about in there.
Exactly, and then it's like if you're excited about VR, because I partly read this book because I'm super excited about, you know, all the stuff that's happening with VR and AR and stuff like that. I think it would have been more interesting to kind of have like reality not be complete, like a complete shithole, and have it, you know, be where they're kind of interacting in the world and interacting in the kind of virtual world and going in and out and seeing that juxtaposition as opposed to escaping in the VR, which seems like a very like convenient sort of tactic.
Sure. Yeah.
I think I have a different vision than you guys, because the world is not that shitty, right? So there are parts of the book that there are some descriptions of the world that say that actually it's pretty okay, right? So there are things that are still okay. I think what happened is that Wade's world is shitty as hell.
Yeah,
and that's the whole point of it, and I think that's the reason why you don't have much a lot of descriptions of the world, because not necessarily the whole world went bonkers. It's just like, yeah, it's pretty awful because the recession, economy, and crap.
Yeah,
it's all going
I think
there,
it
but
still kind of went pretty bad though, right? Like there's very hard, like very rich people, like basically the world going more and more extreme the way it's kind of heading towards right now, right?
Yeah, I guess it's more like a vision of what we usually find in third world countries, where you have a huge gap between the poor and the rich.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what it is right now. And in a lot of places in the world, we already have that. So I think that's not too crazy.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean they went like a little extra mile still. Like things are kind of like Blade Runner-ish, like complete. Dirt poor ghettos with most like tons and tons and tons and tons of people living in, and like energy crisis is mentioned a bunch of times. Not really important, spoiler alert, but one character's goal is to actually kind of fix the world, and the other goes, the world is just kind of screwed. But yeah, either way, I think it's not the book that it's that has been written anyways. It's just a book about we're going to the Oasis.
But that's kind of an interesting point that Mr. T here brings up, right? Like, if you think about it, because I kind of had the mindset of, yeah, it's too much of like a cop-out justification, world shit, let's go hide in VR. But like, if you think about it, it's really Wade's world, and, you know, sort of the people that he's interacting with that are in sort of a certain type of kind of impoverished demographic, but that's probably already even happening right now, like as we speak. Like, you don't need to go to 2044 to have such disparity, where there's probably people right now that don't have anything, you know, that are kind of seeing that comparison. Because when you think about some of the other people and where we're sort of getting ahead of ourselves, but like, you know, some of the other characters that get introduced later that have nice houses and have money and have things like that, you sort of see that there is like a full spectrum. It's just that that gap is so much wider now. And then we only see the world from our protagonist's point of view.
Yeah, well, I mean, the protagonist is whatever the writer wrote as well. Like, they didn't all have to be dirt poor. I think the assumption is made that the world has still, for great part, gone to crap, and there's a bunch of rich people and then like a slew of the rest of the world, etc. But either way, like, fine, you know, it's a dystopian future. I don't think it's a well balanced future. There's no hint of that happening anywhere. But
Yeah, true.
that's all right. I think that's fine. I mean, again, that's, if you want to spend your entire time in the Oasis, you might as well not remind people that stuff could be happening outside as much as it is right now. So it's fine. You guys ready to move on to debating the Oasis and other texts in the box?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. So this Oasis is like, it's a full-on VR universe. People log into it. They have apparently state-of-the-art, amazing rigs that allows them to just completely see and feel everything from this world, and therefore that's all they do all the time. If you're familiar with, well, some people spend their life in World of Warcraft, right? But another bunch another bunch of people actually also spend even more of their life and their, like, sometimes profession and income, etc., in games like Second Life. So there is sort of something similar to this already. But let's say, how do you feel about the tech that the Oasis is based on? Do you like anything that you feel like is sort of realistic? Anything that's kind of over the top? Anything that's that has happened already, or anything you see us being headed towards?
I mean, I feel like it's super, super plausible and realistic, and I guess my opinion is being kind of shadowed by a recent experience where I got to play with the Vive, and it was like the most amazing, surreal experience ever. So I can imagine if they, you know, just those like 15 minutes of messing around and like jumping through other people's created paintings and stuff was so amazing that if someone actually like programmed an entire like world, like city or world or worlds plural around it, I mean, I could see just completely it becoming a very encompassing part of our life.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that. It's I'd been dreaming with that since a movie called Existence. I don't know if you guys heard about this movie.
Yeah,
it's a very B movie. It's a trashy movie with Judy Law, and it's about virtual realities. I think it's from '99.
Yeah.
And it's
old,
very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting, and it has a pretty scary concept in the movie that I will not spoil for anyone that wants to try that out. But I've been dreaming to virtual reality since I watched that movie, and I got crazy about it. And I'm dying to have Project Morpheus shipping, the PlayStation VR shipping, because I want to get one of those.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think the only thing we're gonna miss is the tactile sensation.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like tech. Like if we're debating the tech inside there, they still push it pretty darn far. There is projections.
But you don't think you don't think we're gonna get there in the next 10, 15 years?
Well,
like this book's like 2044. I definitely think we'd get there.
Yeah, so let me mention which tech I'm talking about. There is projection straight up until onto your retina. There is full body haptic feedback. There's a bunch of things that are pretty nuts, you know. Like sometimes they, I think, mention things like, I don't remember if you can actually walk quite. There's some rigs where you can walk, but most of the time they don't use them. But they at the very least they have full body feedback. They can feel pressure. They can feel weight. They can kind of feel a bunch of things. They have harder mods that they apparently mostly turned off. obviously they have sound, but I mean the retina is one thing that's kind of insane. But yeah, they are full on latex body, like close to the body suits where you can basically feel everything from the other world, which is kind of out there, right? But I don't remember. Do you remember if they mentioned anything about actually moving, like walking and stuff?
I think they do. I think they
do.
move. Yeah.
And there's that treadmill. Remember, Z at one point has that treadmill that's kind of connected to him, and then he can like run on it and move very fast on it.
Yeah.
No, and there's another thing they want to mention. I read this article, I think was a couple weeks ago, about this reporter trying the Vive, as Stansbot mentioned, and he was telling that the brain actually is deceived to believe you are moving. So he knew that he was and he was playing like some Pong version, that Atari or whatever old game in Vive, and by the middle of the game, his brain were actually believing that he was moving.
Oh yeah, totally.
And that's the thing. You don't need much to do that.
Wait, but
your brain will definitely adapt yourself, and you have the moving sensation without even moving it.
Wait,
it's
but
crazy.
so you have a VR, you see things, and your brain thinks you're moving, right?
Yep, exactly.
So technically, we're not going to get all the way to the bottom of this, I don't think, today, because we have a lot of things to discuss, but it's not all. Like, it's easy to deceive your brain into thinking you're moving. You just show it pictures, and it thinks it's moving, but your body is not going to feel like it's moving. You're not going to feel like you're walking, etc. And your ear is not going to feel like you're moving, and that's the most important part. Because if your ear doesn't feel like you're moving, you're going to want to puke.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it will be possible. That's the thing. I'm not sure if we're gonna be there, and not for the technology. I think that there will be more crazy talk, like ethical talk, just like in the book is shown in the book. Like, if you provide this to people don't want to live real lives. They just go there, and then the government will do exactly what happened in the book. So you start having education inside the game and all that, and suddenly real life just doesn't matter.
I mean, we didn't get there, but you just have to see how terrible looking Second Life is, and people are still spending an incredible chunk of the time in there, like it's an actual Second Life. Oh yeah, Second Life is, people have jobs in there. Like
Damn, I didn't even know that they were on yet. I thought they died years ago.
Oh, possibly. I mean, I'm just talking at the peak, I guess, of it. But I'm.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'm assuming some people are still clinging onto it.
But virtual currencies from games kind of taking on real monetary value is like very common.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a real thing for sure.
Yes.
Who was telling me recently about the $2 billion Counter-Strike?
Oh sure. Yeah. Virtual currencies in games is just it's totally a thing. Like, this is what we trade with now. Multi-million markets of not actual currency for sure. Which is okay. So, which brings me to one thing is, so with the sociological aspect of this whole second world, yes, people would spend their entire life in it. Therefore, my remark: why in the world would you have permadeath in it? Why in the world would you die in the game and your account is completely shut down? You lose your money, you lose absolutely everything. That would never happen. There's no way there's no way the entire world logs into a game where if they step somewhere where they can die, they just die and lose absolutely everything. People would just kill themselves. So I don't think this one would be implemented that way.
I think that there's a nostalgia in that thing, so about old games, where old games you don't have continue, you don't have multiple lives, you die, you have to get back from the beginning. And I imagine that also for society it works. If you give a too perfect world to a society, it'll be crappy. People will kill themselves because nothing happens. Now you put some danger there. Say, all right, this is your life, you have everything here, you have your currency, everything there. You're not going to physically die if you screwed up here. But you die in the game, you have to create a new account, you have to start over from scratch. This is terrible. People will be terrified from dying.
Yeah,
things will have another dimension. I think that would be awesome. It does kind of make
it more real, right? Like when you think about, if you think about the theme of it being like people are like losing their real life to the Oasis, it's like real life stakes in there. They die. They like in India, they don't physically die, but
That's the point.
it's all.
It's still not. It's not like it's not Earth 2 where everything is like exactly the same and you go to work and you don't do anything adventurous ever.
Yeah, but
this
it
is
kind
a
of
world where you're
increases the.
supposed to go on adventure.
It increases the value of it, though, right? Like it makes it more precious. Like what
Yeah.
you're creating in there, it adds like an element of preciousness to it
Yeah.
because it's not just like we're safe, we keep going.
That's
To be
hilarious.
honest,
It's
I think it would be better to have that kind of thing, that kind of rule in the game. If that rule
But
doesn't
then-
exist,
how
it's
do you
crappy.
explain? How would you explain that it like just about absolutely never happens in an MMORPG? Like when people just invest time in their MMORPG, they already absolutely don't accept that if they die, they're gonna lose everything they did. If on top of that you put their entire money, and they will actually find themselves with no money and no life, and they can have jobs in there, and like there's no way in the world this like
Yeah, that
everybody
I
would
see.
log
I mean,
into a
'cause
world
it's-
where they can lose everything they own, like you know.
That I can see because it's so tied in. Like they're like that's like their jobs. Kids are going to school in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
kinda
you're
can
missing
see.
missing a little bit of this because it's not necessarily you lose everything, right? You can still give your money to someone or put in some place that you can on a new account. If you know a password, you can retrieve that money. People can do that kind of stuff. And just to illustrate this, there was a game. I don't know if it was too famous around this part of the world, but it was called Tibia. I don't know if you heard about it.
TB.
It's Tibia. It's I don't know how to pronounce this. My accent probably it's messing up me. But that game was an MMORPG. It had like millions and millions of users. And what you described is exactly how that game used to work. You die, you lose everything. You lose your levels, you lose your game. Everything that you hold with yourself, it's gone. It's well gone.
There
If
are
you
some
actually
of those.
store that stuff, if you store that stuff in some places, nice. You get a new character, go to that place that you store. You have a passphrase or secured phrase that you can open that door and then you retrieve your items. So that's actually pretty real, and it happens in MMORPGs. I think that most of the new age gamers, let's call that, are pretty used with infinite continuities and all the easiness in the games right now. And what the book is all about is bringing back all the hardness of the games in the 90s.
Yeah. I mean, there is that. There's always permadeath games, right? And it's actually very common nowadays. It's all the indie games, like rogue, like what you call rogue games. You die. But it's, I don't know. It's not like, okay, maybe there's a couple MMOs where you're supposed to grind for 100 hours and then lose everything. But I don't think the mass appeal, the entire world comes into a game when they can create a character and live a life for 10 years and then just like go into a PvP zone and die and lose everything. I don't think you would have the entire population of Earth on something. I don't think they would do permadeath, but whatever. I mean,
I don't know. I think I see as possibility, especially because there are zones, right? You don't have this happening every place.
Yeah, that's
if
the
you
only
don't
thing.
want to go there, that's okay. You don't need to.
Yeah.
That's what I think it's possible. It's feasible. I understand that it's weird that in the book, especially because we're talking about future and why the hell people are doing that yet. But I think it's totally doable.
Yeah, I think that's the most realistic part is the fact that they have non-PvP as well, so you don't have to do it. But as soon as you step out, you get killed, and well, tough luck.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So let's see. Since we're staying in the spoiler-free zone, I guess we can try and quickly mention the characters now. Kind of what we feel about them. So our main character, Wade, is called Z in the simulation, and he's a very poor 19-year-old that gets abused. He's a little bit of a Cinderella.
It's hard to give my input on Wade without like kind of going into how the story evolves. I mean, without going into too many spoilers, I guess I just feel his character's evolution really unrealistic. Like, how does he get from the beginning, which is point A, to like where he is by the time the story wraps up? Like,
did you
the whole
feel that he evolved? I didn't feel that he evolved at all. There's actually one part of the book that we can talk in the spoiler zone that I think that part I give you that's pretty weird.
Yeah,
But,
so I'll
mostly
let's
the
mostly-
characters
spoiler
stay the
zone.
same.
Let's try and be specific and not do any spoil just yet unless
Yeah.
unless we transition straight. Well, I mean, we can just go and debate everything now. I guess it's gonna be. I mean, I don't have anything particular to say about Wade. He's like, I mean, actually, most of the characters, to be honest, all they want is to get into the hunt and find the Easter egg, and they're all like geeks and they know everything about 80s trivia and.
You say it like it's a bad thing. They're geeks.
Dude, that's awesome. What the hell?
That's all you know. That's all you ever hear about them. They're like kids that spend their entire time in the game and know all the trivia and do the hunt. And I don't think there's any particular character development. They're kind of all kind of braggy or they come on a little strong and they're kind of cool and they're young and they are hunters or grunters. Is it?
Yeah,
Grunters.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Grunters.
Yeah. I honestly don't have much to say about them. And I think actually, I mean, I'm looking at my list of characters, and I think Halliday, who is the boss and the maker of the whole universe, I think we can discuss a little later on as well. Their interactions are pretty simple. I'm seeing in my list there's Daito and Shoto, who are vaguely racist Japanese stereotypes of very.
They're very racist Japanese
Yeah,
stereotypes.
yeah.
That was very weird.
yeah.
There's nothing vague about it.
They're just stereotypical. They're just kind of very respectful. I mean, classic. I mean, it's from 2011 again. So if you know Japanese,
I mean, what does
people-
that mean?
No,
Yeah, I
I'm
was
just saying.
like, dude, it's like yesterday, dude.
No, that's what I
Well,
mean.
not just that, but like what based on the way Daito and Shoto are written and like all the kind of very, very like in your face stereotypes. I mean, how does 2011 impact that?
Well, that's not what I was saying. I was saying it's like you can actually in 2011 know because if he was a little older than that, like by the 80s or whatever, you could still see that.
Sure.
There's a lot of I mean, it's stereotypical to the point where they're very tame, very respectful, very like
Honorable.
kind of no fun, honorable, straight guys, and by 2011 you can kind of start knowing, if you know Japanese culture, then people are kind of a little bit more all over the place, but it's mostly stereotypical, I guess. I don't think it's like out there that Japanese people are like kind of respectful, kind of straight and blah blah blah. But
But they could have presented it. Yeah, they could have presented it that way, but like added on, like, why do they have to fight with a katana? Like, both of them have katanas
Sure.
as their like weapon.
yeah, they're like
That.
they're like Jap and go go go.
Yeah, totally.
I think the whole set of characters are very stereotyped. You know, you have the uber nerd, which is Z. Z's the uber nerd that it's kind of poor, but in the game is okay. Then you have Age, his best friend, that it's super cool guy that have tons of money because he made his money inside the game. And then you
Yeah.
have the famous YouTuber, which is Artemis, and Halliday is the godlike Steve Jobs worship the guy. And then you have the bad guys. There are so stereotypes. Like Sorrento is bad guy all over. When you start reading about him, you
Yeah.
hate him. In the very
Yeah,
first
totally.
paragraph, you hate him. It's just like, it can't be more bad guy than that one. So the characters are not that rich.
Yeah.
I usually say when I comment about characters in books, I say that I prefer gray characters. You know, those that you don't know if they're good or bad, or their reasons make a lot of sense to you, even though you know it's kind of bad to do it. And you don't have such thing in this book. This is like pretty straightforward. It's black and white. You
Well,
have good
that's a-
guys, bad guys, and it's not a bad thing, but yeah.
Well, that's a kind of I mean, in a larger sense, like, that's how I felt about the way the book was written, too. For me, you know, I mean, I enjoyed the book. Like, I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. But like books that really love are books where you kind of start experiencing what's happening. You sort of become kind of involved and invested in the characters in a personal way. And for me, from beginning to end in this book, I was just being told like a story that's occurring. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's no
the way it's
development
written
in the end.
Yeah, there's no like proper development. There's no like moment where you get truly invested. You're just being told. You're like, and then he loved this, and he did this, and then he did that, and then she did this, and she was like this. You don't get to see it or experience it.
Yeah,
You just get told,
actually.
like, Artemis is like this.
You know what is interesting is everything you describe it is how 100% of the movies in the 80s were done. So this is, and this book is an odd for the 80s itself. So basically, this plainness of the book is exactly how we used to consume things in the 80s, right? Movies, it start from the start to the end. You don't have grayness, you don't have investment in characters. It's just like good guys versus bad guys. You have a lot of explosions, some crappy visual effects, but the guy saving the girl, and that's it. So that's it. And I think that probably this is what make me like the book so much, because I was reading and having this huge nostalgia about the 80s. Saying, oh my God, that's so nice. And especially when he mentioned TV series I used to watch and music I used to hear. That's like, holy cow. I was like chanting every time I read a person. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Bryan Adams. Yeah, there we go. You listen to that stuff too.
Yeah,
I feel like this is like the... Oh, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say, now that we've established that we have nothing to say about the characters, and now that we've been repeatedly veering off to different subjects, I think we can just go onto something more interesting than the actual characters. So I do think we're going to get into the spoiler part now. We're going to talk about the hunt and the narrative of the book, like what actually happens in the book. So be ready for spoilers. For the YouTube video, I'll put an annotation so that you can skip to after the spoilers. It should be showing somewhere on your screen right now, so everything's all right. So we have the hunt, which is the hunt for the Easter eggs, all the quest, the steps of the quest that are get the copper key, open the copper gate, or find the copper gate, open the copper gate, do the same for the silver key and the silver gate, and the jade key and the jade gate, and you win. So the hunt as well. I have one note about the hunt, and that kind of loops back to the characters, and I think that's going to be hilarious. This entire thing is exclusively, entirely based on the fact that you have to know your 80s trivia. And who is the best at it? 19-year-olds from 2044. Not 60 or 70-year-olds that were alive by then. Not people who had like their entire lives to get interested and to know and to study into whatever. The kids, all the kids, they're like completely beating everybody else at 80s trivia. I think that's kind of funny. So yeah, what do you think about the hunt? What do you think about the fact that it's like all revolving around 80s stuff, and more 80s stuff? You love it.
Yeah, I love it. What can I say? I really do. And I think actually it makes sense. Everything you said makes sense. An example, how about 50s and 60s cultures right now? Right. So I bet you that we have tons of 20 to 30-year-old people knowing more about that culture than guys with 75, 80 years old. Those guys don't even care anymore. They leave that stuff. They say, yeah, screw it. I don't want to spend my time thinking about that stuff anymore.
You need to add 10 to 20 years to know the people who were in that culture at the time. So 50s, 60s, they're kind of bordering that now.
But I think it's more like the larger point is it's more like if it becomes cool, or if there's a huge stake, which there is in this book, then like, it's the young ones, it's the kids that are going to gravitate to it. And then, I mean, you see it. It's not like it's almost like it's an obsession, right? They're treating it like the way like my 13-year-old sister gets obsessed with things. She gets obsessed with K-pop. and she knows like everyone's name and everyone's life and everyone's blood type, and she just knows it all. It's like that crazy obsession that only like teenagers are capable of, or
Oh,
mostly
yeah.
teenagers.
So you listen to songs and you know by heart every single
Yeah.
word of the song. I can't do this now. I remember when I
Yes,
was
totally.
teenager, I did all the time. I used
Okay,
to know lyrics of songs that no one else knew it, and
You don't
right
remember
now
your
I
lyrics of songs?
I can't.
You're not that
But you
old.
remember the lyrics from the songs you listened to back when you were a teenager. What song have you memorized like now? You just don't as you get older.
I
You're like, oh,
doubt it. I bet
take a
you will
nap.
not be able
Yeah,
to,
I mean, you
to
don't have
remember.
any rest for it for sure. But
Yeah, so that's the thing.
yeah, I think that's the one thing that's realistic about it is actually the 60 and 70-year-olds, they most likely have better thing to do than to just grind on the culture to find the Easter egg and finally get rich so that they can be 80-year-old rich people. So
And then die.
that I can buy. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, those kids keep playing with these video games. You know, that's the kind of thing. It's not their thing.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, we're being sold a world where everybody is playing, but who knows? I mean, maybe the 60, 70.
Well,
80,
everyone's
I don't
in
know.
it. Everyone's in it. Everyone's not playing, right? Like, even in their world. Like, everyone's in the Oasis in some capacity. Like, that old lady who's his neighbor in the beginning. Like, they're all in it, but, you know, they're doing different things. And it's the kids that are, like, actively hunting.
Is she in the Oasis?
Is she not? I don't remember that.
Because I was gonna say, I hate to sound romantic, but if you have a person with you, you don't really need a whole ton of distractions or Oasis. You might just kind of shoot the shit and just be with people. So that's. I mean, the old people, I don't think they need to be in the Oasis. They can just like kind of play Scrabble or whatever.
I will bring another reference to you guys. Do you guys know a movie called Surrogates with Bruce Willis?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
well,
that's
maybe I know
I've
it.
seen
that's
it forever ago.
yeah, that movie it shows exactly what you're talking about, Greg. So you have someone with you, but then eventually routine gets in the way, and you both go inside a game, and you guys start like, enjoying yourselves inside the game again.
Yeah,
That happens, right?
Yeah, I
it
think
it
I've
might
seen
go
that.
bad. It might go bad, but this is nothing. It's nothing like impossible, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So either way, old people might or might not be into the Oasis, but they're definitely not into the hunt. Or they're
Oh, yeah,
not the-
sure.
They're not the best ones, apparently. What about the puzzles? I have one thing about the puzzles is that I think there is two in the entire book, and then there's repeats. I think there is. I play a video game and I need to beat it perfectly, and there is. Now I'm in a movie and I need to know the entire movie by heart. And yeah, that's the one thing is the puzzles. I mean, there's a couple puzzles where you have to understand what the enigmatic sentence means. So about where you're supposed to go fetch your key and your gate. So there's that. There's like, and obviously that's the thing that everybody's struggling with, right? It's just understanding what the hell is supposed to happen next. But when they're there, either they play a video game or they have to quote every single line from a movie. That's what the hunt is. It's like
I think there's more. It's more than that because the hunt is more about finding the place where you need to do those.
yeah.
So that's why no one finds it. When you start the adventure with Wade stumbling by accident, not entirely by accident, but kind of by accident to the first place, to the first gate. And once he's inside, then he has to play and do all that. But to find where those spots are, it's the real.
It's the biggest challenge.
Exactly.
So
I think the
that's
hunt's
three
more
things.
about that than actually the challenge itself.
So you go
Yeah.
bronze riddle, bronze video game, bronze movie, silver riddle, silver video game, silver movie, jade riddle, jade video game, jade movie, basically.
But I don't think there was
Still-
ever any I don't think there was ever any they didn't lie to us and make us think it was going to be anything else. I was never expecting anything else.
If you're making,
It's
if you're
more
making
just
6 different steps, I'm expecting more than 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 9 steps. I'm like, it starts to feel like Assassin's Creed to me. Basically, it's just like, yeah, you have a riddle, a game, a movie, and then a better riddle, better game, better movie, and then better and better, better, and you're done. I think you could do other things.
Of course, but Ernest Cline explained in the book that this game was created by one person,
Uh-huh.
and one person obsessed about an era.
With those things.
era.
He was
Yeah.
maybe not as good a game designer as he thought he was.
Yes, that might be. That might be. You might be totally right about that.
No, basically, I think how is he called? The maker of the book, Ernest
Cline.
himself might not be the greatest game designer because he didn't come up with a whole ton of things to do in this quest. I think the best like super game designer might have figured out a couple more things to do.
Yeah, no, probably. But I think his goal was to challenge people to really know the 80s.
Yeah.
The games from the 80s, the movies from the 80s. I think that was his goal.
That much is true.
Yeah, but that's it, and that's it, right? You're right. It's plain simple. As we discussed before, everything in this book is straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's 80s trivia plus you need to be able to play 80s video game. Basically this is 80s trivia. That's really how
It's kind of pretty gimmicky though, right? It's like, oh, nobody likes the same shit I like. I'm just gonna put a bunch of money on it and make them all obsessed with everything I like.
Oh yeah. I mean, like so we can discuss this guy's vision of the thing, but yeah, this like tuned to 300% to 1,000% is like 80s is the shit. You're gonna
Oh, you don't think so? Here's $1 million. Now, do you
Yeah.
think so?
You're gonna need to know everything. Well, they even say so in the book. They go, I feel like people should appreciate the 80s culture. Now you will. Like now this is gonna be a dozen and thousand and 100,000 of people just are trying very hard to know everything there is to know about the 80s through the lens of this guy and what he likes.
I have a theory about this stuff.
Okay.
I think this guy Hathaway, right? He was just fucking up with everyone. He got hit to his desk and think, what was the shittiest era that the human being lived through? The most most horrible clothes and music and stuff. 80s. I will make everyone relive that shit again. So basically, that's my theory. It's not possible someone... I love the 80s. I love 80s songs. I love 80 movies. But not even I will be that loving with this stuff. So this guy wants to screw people. I'll make you screw up this stuff.
I think he's been described as a person whose entire life revolved around that geek culture. I think supposedly that's really how he feels about the whole thing. That's really what he cares about, I think.
Probably.
He's been, let's see if we can just straight up goes to that. Yeah, let's just kind of debate the nerd culture and the whole trivia culture kind of thing. The way he's been described, this guy is an absolute complete uber nerd that can literally not talk to a single woman.
Yeah.
And that's what he cares about. This is all he knows. This is his life. And yeah, that's him. And to that extent, I felt like it was pretty stereotypical and kind of derogatory against I don't want to know what word, geek, nerds, gamers, and whatever. It's very much people, like, there's a lot of connotation about video games that are like, you're in a video game, you can't talk to women, you're getting fat, you don't care about anything else, you spend your entire life in the Oasis, look around, there is a different world, you need to exercise, like everything is in there. Like there's mentions of him discovering masturbation at some stage, which I'm like,
Wait, what? I don't remember that. Can you remind me that?
There's a whole chapter about like, and then I don't remember exactly. Is it when he starts making money and he can see like top of like high tech?
No, that's when he
stuff?
has money, so he can go to. Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, that's like I get it. He's finally rich, so he's gonna
Yeah,
go
but
like
the entire
take
chapter is
advantage
like,
of all
and
that.
then I was like, and then I was winking there, and then I was winking here, and it's like the whole chapter. I guess it's supposed to be funny, but the whole thing is like, yeah, it's just such a, it's such a like, just typical like, oh well, and then I just masturbated all day, so I realized that I should do something with my life 2 weeks in, you know, like there's a lot of like,
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah,
I do remember that. now.
That sounds pretty much like real life, right? When you're young and doing shit, you say, "Oh yeah, I should probably do better with my
extreme.
life."
It's a tiny bit extreme. Like that part made me think. Basically, it made me think about the writer, and I was thinking, okay, so maybe he's from the. I didn't check this guy's age. I think I think he's in the age depicted in the book, the writer, but it didn't feel like a gamer all that much to me, or at least everything he said about geeks and gamers was like. And basically, you're fat and you masturbate a lot and you can talk to girls and you don't care about anything else than games. Like there's a lot of this that I heard about that.
No, it's and I mentioned this offline with Ominous before, and this book is really made for two kind of people: really geekies and people that born before '80s, because by that time that was the vision of gamer, right? So and Ernest Cline, I think he's old, right? Old. He's not that old, but I think he has 50 or about that. And by his teenage time, where he was obsessed with the '80s, that was what gamers are, and game design was something that didn't exist, right? So you have one guy creating some pixels in a screen that do something based on some logic, and that's it. You have a game. Sell it. You know, it's a success. So, and although you're right, you're totally right, and I agree with everything you said. Actually, that's the point. That's how it was supposed to be. Yeah. Because in the '80s, you don't have. Well, the first, I think one of the very first Easter eggs we had in video games was in a game called Adventure from Atari. Mm-hmm. And if you had the patience to play that game, dude, it's awful. It's like ridiculous. I can't play that stuff anymore. Yeah. And we used to love it. And that's the thing about this. And you're right. The game design is ridiculous. There's no game design at all. People think that not people. Ernest Cline has this vision about gamers that everyone is fat because, that's how it used to be, right? The healthy kids used to play ball and run outside and burn the fat, and geeky nerds stay in the sofa just playing Atari and getting fat and eating junk food.
Well, that's the vision now, too.
But right now we have a mix, right? Yeah, it's a little better. You can't see people what we in the past used to say normal people that are playing video games with no problem. Well, another thing that was very stereotypic, we didn't have girls playing game by the 80s because it was bad. And right now it's pretty common. Actually, I risk to say that more and more girls are joining and they are kicking ass of everyone else in video games. And that's another thing. I think that everything boils down that you have to have a mindset like this is an 80s book, right? It was written in the 80s. This book depicts 80s vision of the world. A lot of things that are there are actually pretty accurate, but they're crappy. I'm not saying they're not crappy. It's terrible, but
I guess
it
does it disservice that it's using kind of a VR paradigm where, like, I'm reading this now and I'm like, well, that's what you think would happen and that's how the future would be. And I guess if you wanted to put yourself in that, I think you should have depicted it a little more like it's anchored in the 80s in a little more obvious way. Because I'm reading this, like, especially from a gamer point of view, and I go, oh, so that book, and that's a big misunderstanding. Then this is not a book about gaming, gamers, geekies, geekers. It's like very much an 80s culture thing.
Oh yeah, and I agree.
I guess I've been kind of misled, or I didn't fully understand because I'm getting into this and I'm like, okay, cool, nerd stuff, geek stuff, awesome. And then like everything like, oh well, look, geeks are fat and they play a lot of video games and they never talk to women. I'm like, shit, you too? Yeah, it was a bit of a, why am I looking at this here? Like, I didn't come here to read this. Like, what is going on?
I think that on a surface level, just because there's so much like pop culture and so much awesome like geek culture reference throughout the book that people are just like, oh, it's a book about geek culture. It's a fanboy book. But I think that Tiago's totally right. It's definitely like a book about the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's a book that shows a vision of the 80s. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's when I see it from that lens, it all fits a little bit more. I still don't quite like all of it, and I still think it's a little too
sure.
like bland at times or too like stereotypical. But that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the whole thing is this book has to be face it as a documentary for geeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for the old guys and girls that want to relive some 80s moments, that's a must. That book is fantastic for that reason. But for geeks, I think it's, hey, this is how everything started. Right? It's not like, oh, this is an adventure about geeks. This is a book about the 80s. There's an adventure that it's pretty much how the 80s used to be, and this is pretty much a documentary for you. So see how everything you're having right now was born here. So that's pretty much what it is. It's kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah, actually, there's something that kind of struck me. Like, I knew I couldn't complain about it, but when the video game sequence kicked in, so I knew he was going to be 80s and stuff, but it all goes, and now you're going to try and pass the gate, and there is a big challenge of a video game. And they try and put the most epic kind of pressure on boop, 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 playing Pac-Man or playing in Joust and stuff. And, like, I get it, it's hard and everything, but wow, is that epic, Like, and I have to jump, and you have to jump again, and oh, I died.
No, it's very funny because those games are ridiculous bad. If you don't even play them, just go watch a YouTube with them. They are pretty bad. They're pretty bad, and they were from a time where it didn't have game design or whatever.
They're simple. I don't think they were bad quite so. Some of them were
yeah.
bad, but they all had. I mean, they all had people making them and go like, well, now grab the controller. Is that fun? Like they couldn't do much, but like Joust and even freaking Pac-Man. Like you can say Pac-Man is bad, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it's
Pac-Man
just simple as all heck. Yeah, but still, like when you get like, and now I challenge you to a game of Pac-Man. It's just like, okay, I guess this is epic, sort of.
No,
It's the most quintessential game, though. It's like, and it wasn't part of the main challenge, right? It was like one of the one-offs, and it is like, it's freaking Pac-Man.
Well, the other ones,
it cracked me up that it was just in there.
And I think
guess.
the thing about this is, it's now I'm thinking it's a little bit more deep than that. So imagine right now the thing you have right now, and let's say some board game. I like to play, for instance, X-Wing miniature games, and some people see me playing that stuff. It's just the guy's just playing with small ships like a kid of 5 years old. But for me, someone gets to me and say, "All right, I challenge you for a dogfight with my Imperial Assault guys," and that's like epic for me. I hear that, and that's like sounds pretty epic. It's just like, I challenge you for this epic battle.
That's cheating. Yeah.
Right?
You still have to write a book.
I feel like
about
you could say anything with that voice and it would sound epic.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Exactly.
I'm hungry, I want a donut.
Yeah,
Epic.
but and I think that's the vision of that. So for them, wow, Pac-Man is like, wow, Pac-Man. And then someone say, I challenge you for Pac-Man game. It's just, wow, it's a huge battle in their mind.
You're trying to make us feel like for them it's impressive. We're still reading a book. Unless you force me to feel it, I'm just gonna be like, all right, it's very hard. It's trying to make a perfect game of Pac-Man, but it still would be like,
It is.
Whatever.
No, but what I'm saying is the other way around. We all see that way in some point with something, right? So everyone can look to any challenge about any game and say, seriously, you think that's good? I bet, for instance, that my mom would say me playing, I don't know, freaking Doom 4, which is a fantastic game and awesome graphics, and she would look at it and say, whatever.
Oh, that's the thing.
Right?
You couldn't do it nowadays, because nowadays every single one of 1,000 million games are this completely, absolutely ridiculous, epic story and action of a game. Like, you can't impress people about playing a video game like in any way, shape, or form anymore. Like, just if you don't believe it, go play Uncharted, and then tell me something is gonna be more than something else. You know, like everything is just absolutely goddamn ridiculous. Like play God of War, play Bayonetta, play Uncharted, and tell me which one is epic. And like good luck. But
Yeah, I guess you're right in that.
but so yeah, that's one thing. One thing he does right is he's gonna slip a bunch of trivia and kind of a tiny bit of a technical details about like how to be perfect at a game X, Y, and Z. That is kind of cool and kind of interesting. That reminds me of something completely parallel. But if you have never seen The King of Kong, it's kind of fun to see. It's a movie about competitive Donkey Kong. Yeah, Donkey Kong, the original,
Seriously?
right? Yeah, so like classic arcade Donkey Kong, perfect games, very similar to Pac-Man. There might be a bit of Pac-Man in there, but yeah, basically like competitive players, and they try and make it epic and make a saga out of it, and it kind of sort of works, and it's kind of fun.
Wow,
So-
I'm searching for this right now.
Oh yeah, it's,
I'll look for
it's a
that.
fun ride, and they have like strong characters too, like this whatever his name chess player. It just reminds me of this, like people who are kind of nuts, but they're also the best in the world, and it's kind of interesting. So yeah, that's the hunt. That's how you discover the clues. That's how you beat the game, and that's how you get to the very end. What do you think about the end? That's
Wait, we're in the spoiler section, right?
Oh, very
Yeah,
much
we
so.
are. Feel free to.
Oh, we've been, yeah, okay. So I guess, yeah, since we're talking about the end, I want to go back to talking about Wade for a second. Just the reason I found his like character's evolution so unrealistic is how did he go from being like, I guess a fairly chubby kind of nerdy stereotype to like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible? Like, what is that?
Because he's in the video game, right? He's like he's the Lord.
No, in
He's
real
the-
life, when he like
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
when he
part
gets
that
incarcerated and
Mm.
he like gets himself like completely imprisoned, and then he breaks out of the prison.
Well,
It's
isn't he supposed to be like
ridiculous.
a slum lord? Like he's like dodging and like jumping in the stacks and going into the rec yard and like hiding in the thing. Like I think he's kind of sort of supposed to be cool, but yeah, he's a hero after that.
Yeah, I think
I
that,
don't know.
that was the point that I said that I didn't quite like his evolution is the fact that in real life he's like this weird dude, as you said, and then he buff out, he purchase something crazy to just lose fat, and he get like gorgeous, he have abs and stuff. That's the part I say, yeah,
Well, it's
no.
just the part
No,
where he gets really fat and he decides. This is the part where I feel like the book gives you morale about everything. Like, oh, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I masturbate too much. I should masturbate a lot. And like, oh, I'm getting fat. I need to work out now. And now, okay,
Yeah,
he's back
exactly,
into a
that-
normal person. And
No.
he's like-
That's the thing. He's not back to a normal person.
And then
He's
he's a
back
ninja.
into a superhero, right? He's
Well, I
transcend the
didn't
thing.
catch. I didn't catch that he like buffed out. He just said that like he. I mean, I kind of thought that like I did think it was too convenient how it worked out for him. But he was getting a little too chunky for his haptic suit. So when you think about it, like right, he's like on his own. He finally has some money, so of course he's gonna like veg out and like he's pretty stationary. So it's believable that he like doesn't fit in his suit anymore. And then that suit's expensive, so he's like, oh shit, I gotta do something about this. All that I still kind of understand. But, like, what I don't get is at what point does that person, who's pretty stationary and pretty much, like, a nerd or a geek or whatever you want to say, pretty solitary, just kind of a loner, at what point do they decide, yeah, I'm going to get imprisoned by this, like, crazy police, and then I'm going to break out, and here's my plan, and I'm just, like, at what point do you become, like,
yeah.
a spy mastermind?
I mean,
like, that's the disconnect.
Yeah,
I don't
no, I
think-
agree. That's
I don't fully subscribe to the idea of like video games makes you disconnect you from reality and blah and so on, but a VR world where you spend about the entirety of your life in, if he is a hero, an adventurer, and he's doing a quest and he's taking risks and blah and so on in there, I could kind of see that he goes back into the real world and kind of start pulling off completely reckless moves over there as well, especially since he's motivated, because for him it's just, I could see the guy being like, I'm like, now I'm reckless in the real freaking world now, because that's what I do
So-
day on and day out in the simulation.
I could see the psyche of working like that. Like, yeah, I'm like crazy all day in my like in the Oasis, this one, like you kind of like kid yourself. You're like, yeah, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
But what I don't get is how he actually had it. He like actually
Yeah,
got this.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
the part where I'm like,
Same.
what?
Yeah, how did he turn into MacGyver? Like, he just goes
Yeah,
right in
totally.
there, and he's like, I'm a hacker. I'm just gonna be right in there in the middle of the thing, and I'm gonna hack the hell of them. And just
Yeah, how do you have such elite hacking skills? Like, where did that come
yeah,
from?
I just hacked the whole thing. And in passing, I love the part where the people of the company have a database with the entirety of their company in it, and then a little bit of folders where there is proof of them murdering people in them. Like, I like this. I like this a lot. This is very practical.
Yeah.
Just
No,
like,
that-
"Oh, this is a good
that's how
folder,
real
I'm gonna
world-
take this one.
That's how real world used, right? So you probably, if you go to FBI or CIA, you will find a folder saying killing people. Then
Yeah.
you just download that, you're good. No, yeah, that part is crazy. And I think, and this is probably my only complaint about the book, that it would be much, much better if in that part he was really reckless, trying to do everything and miserably failing.
Yeah.
You know, like he fails, he get locked out and something like that, and then someone help him break out or actually take him off there or something like that.
Yeah.
That is one of the fewest moments in any book that I think a Deus Ex Machina will work better than the story that it unfolds there.
Of what
Yeah.
kind? So, like Deus Ex in how exactly?
For instance, you know, he tries to escape, he's caught, he's like sedated or something, and then he's sleeping and the wall just break, or there's an explosion on outside and there's a hole in the wall, he just walk in that hole. So this kind of thing would make more sense than he being Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the only complaint I have about the book, I guess.
And like I noticed that I removed all my nitpicking notes, but I remember another one, which is by the time he finally hack the entire company, he looks into the thing and like, oh well, fancy that, they're gonna kill everybody tomorrow. Like,
Yeah,
oh
it's-
damn, I better
Well,
do
yeah,
something
it's like,
about that.
How
I mean,
come-
it's
Everything,
also
all
like,
the plot twists are like just when you need them all the time.
I mean, it's like light young adult fiction, and then it reads like one. You're like, yep, that's it.
Yep, probably right. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Oh.
the big final battle. I'm assuming you like the big final battle, like bunch of mecha warriors.
Of course, right. That's
Come
that's,
on, it's all the mechs.
come on, that's like the top of the book. Like, you read that stuff, if you didn't get, you know, all pumped with that part, you don't have a life, man. You don't have
I
heart.
don't have a soul.
Right,
Well, the
you-
thing is, I was
you're
already
dying
getting annoyed
inside.
at this point. That's the worst part. Is like I was getting annoyed when he started going into forced labor, and then all the when stuff needs to happen and all the twists. That's when the narration and the writing gets the laziest. And I'm like, oh, and okay, and now he hacks everything. Oh, everything's happening tomorrow, and then the big battle, and the big battle is like. The action in there is kind of weird, right? Oh, there's the big boss, and he's very, very strong, and let's flank him. And oh, we passed him. Oh no, don't wait for me. I'm gonna slow down the guy, and then gets killed. And like right when Daito gets killed, Z went like, "Hey, by the way, I have a sword that can just totally kill you. I'm just gonna kill you." Just kill him.
Is that the Vorpal? Is that the Vorpal sword?
Yeah, it's just like, sorry you died. I guess I'm gonna
Okay,
use
so
my
that
sword
was one
now.
of my awesome moments because do you guys know that the Vorpal sword is from Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's so many. I mean, I probably caught like maybe like 5 of them.
Yeah.
But there's so many like references littered throughout the book. I think the author probably was just like, what else can I put in
Sure.
here? What else?
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
threw them all in.
Yeah, this one is not 80s though, but yeah, it's super cool.
And
Yeah,
I think one thing that is worth mentioning here is, and I have to be honest here, I think Ernest Cline is not the best writer in the world.
Oh, no.
That's for sure,
I
right?
have a couple
You
of
think?
quotes that I'm keeping for the end.
So that's the thing. I really like the book, the story, and I think he hit the jackpot in this because of the theme, right? And everyone falling in love about it because it has games in it. And even though I'm not sure if everyone likes it, every gamer like it, but there's games, there's pop culture, there's 80s. So he found a way to get a lot of people to like this story, even though the story is not very well written.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, or very compelling. It's the
Yeah,
theme
exactly.
for sure.
Yeah.
I'm saying this because I read his other book, called Armada, which I also like it, but I like it because I was in the mindset of the book. I recognize the book is pretty bad,
Yeah.
right? And
Oh,
unfortunate,
one
right?
too, then.
Yeah, no, but and that one I don't recommend to people. I like it. I really love that book because of reasons, whatever.
Huh.
But I know that by now I know that Ernest Cline is not, by far, is not the best writer in the world.
He's
and
not a writer, by the way. Those are his 2 books. Like he kind
Yeah,
of tried
that's it.
to write screenplays for a couple of things, but I don't think he's got any other book. Or at least it's not on Wiki.
Yeah, no, it's not. The Armada was his second book,
It's his second, yeah.
and I think he thought he would write a sequel for that, but I doubt some editor will allow him to do so. But I don't know.
I mean, now
Well,
he
you
can
never
write
know.
a
I mean,
sequel to Ready
this
Player
book is
One.
exactly. This book has gotten such acclaim and fame, and for whatever reason, I mean, let's be honest. Worse things have been written.
Oh yeah, no,
like
sure.
Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey, and there's like 3 of those.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that, and I understand the marketing point of view of this. So this guy wrote Ready Player One. Everyone loves it. Even people that don't like it actually say they love it because everyone else is saying they love it. And yeah, let's sell, I don't know, mugs with his name, and we will make tons of money with this,
Yeah.
right? So whatever.
I mean,
But
yeah.
it's kind of, my point is, what you're pointing out is actually true, and we have to be honest. So you didn't read the book yet, and you're, for some reason, hearing we spoil everything to you, but it's not very well written. There's a lot of problems in the book, but if you get pumped by the story, if you get caught, if something hook you up in the story, you're gonna enjoy the hell of it.
It's enjoyable. No, yeah, it's a fun read. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're not reading literature. You have to kind of go into it with the right mindset. It's like
Yes.
an easy,
It's actually-
fun read. Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's the thing. It's my it's my first Audible book. I've never been doing Audible, and I'm reading another book now that's much more like well written and whatever, and I cannot not pay attention to that one book. But when I'm not fully paying attention to Ready Player One, I'm doing okay. Like usually something happens.
Yeah.
Josh Whedon, who's doing the voice, kind of just wakes me up and whatever, and everything goes okay. Like nothing to, and it's written in simple words, simple sentences. I didn't miss a thing. But yeah, and that's the other thing that's very slightly subtle difference with the Audible version is the dialogue and the characters when they talk to each other, especially when Wade meets Artemis and is all giggly and all in love with this 19-year-old.
Oh gosh, that
It
must be
is
bizarre.
painful to hear in the voice of Josh Whedon. Like I'm like, oh, he's like hee hee hee, and just trying to talk like a cool 18-year-old, and it's sometimes I'm a little bit you know, like a little bit embarrassed.
Yeah, you get used to it. You get used to it. I'm a huge fan of audiobooks.
Yeah.
But by the time I read Ready Player One, I was not listening to audiobooks. I actually read it, and I think that makes a lot of difference.
I
What
think
you're
so
saying,
too. I
yeah.
read it too.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense because you can feel embarrassed by the person reading something to you, and if the actor is not good enough to pull off some dialogues with like gender swap,
The
that's
dialogues are not good enough. Yeah, I
No,
think the actor was good, but the dialogue was like, ooh.
I'm not
written-
sure if I can say Witten is that good. He's good.
No, I'm saying the writing was not. Oh, I don't know about Wheaton. I think he was fine, but the dialogue you cannot make a great speaker make this dialogue sound good. Like
Yeah,
actually,
well, probably,
I want to finally get my couple quotes in because this is amazing, and maybe we can talk about the romance, but I don't think there's all that much to say about it. But
Yeah.
there is one that's like we're connected on a purely mental level. That's when you finally discover that, and that's another thing. Like plot twist, she's not as hot. So what is it gonna be? Does she have one leg? Is she super fat? Is she like like a midget or something? She's got a birthmark, and everybody's like,
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a
it's
little
true.
bit.
Yeah.
So convenient.
Like, oh my
She's
God.
just as hot as her avatar.
Yeah, I know.
with a
She's got
birthmark.
birthmark on her ass. Oh no, you're not gonna love me. So that was kind
Yeah.
of funny. and this one, and the other twist is that his best friend is a girl that's fat
Yeah, that's
and black. And you're like,
yeah,
okay.
that was kind of that particular one I really like it. Actually, that particular one I really like it. You know, age being a girl and a black girl, I really
Yeah,
like
I liked
that.
it too. It's diversity. I mean, it's a bit gimmicky, like
It
black
just looks like they're
lesbian, but
cramming
like
a little bit
cool.
in there, you know.
Yeah, but I can't deny that the guy just had a list of tropes, like literature tropes. Say, I will use this, and that, and we'll put all in my book to make sure that I mention everything. So yeah,
And he did. He used them
Yeah.
all.
She's still
Yeah.
a lesbian. She's not like fully, completely normal heterosexual woman that happens to be kind of behaving like the regular gender for a guy. She's still a lesbian, you know, whatever. So it's not
Yeah, no,
fully.
that's the trope, right? You just swap everything, but everything is still the same, right?
I guess.
She still likes like girls. She's still the same person. So it's absolutely normal having all the conversation you had before with her because he decided that she was a lesbian.
I think to Ominous's point, it's like she could have just been a girl. Like she didn't need
That'd
to be
be
a
awesome.
lesbian just because she likes games and stuff. So in
Yeah,
that
no.
sense, he's still kind of like messed
And that would
messed
be
it up a little bit.
fantastic. Imagine. So yeah, I'm a girl, and actually, I like guys. I don't like girls. I just pretend to like girls to be pretending to be a man, and that would be fantastic. Because imagine then the main character having to face all the discussions he had with that girl. Now that girl know intimacy of him that he would never say to another girl, and that would make the story much more interesting. But again, it's the choice of the author just going straight forward. Let's
Yeah.
get this. And
Yeah, I
there's-
think he just wanted to like package it up. You know, he didn't
Yep.
want to leave like loose ends like that. And in the end, it's like, you know, it's kind of cool. Like you don't see a lot of like LGBTQ characters and stuff, so it's cool. Like, you know, if you wanted to go with the trope,
Yeah,
go
that's
with
fine.
it.
So I
Get
just
it
wanna-
in there.
Just want to mention quickly because I don't know. I feel like acknowledging our friend tonight that's telling us Arcade Animal right there is telling he was just about to buy the book at Barnes and Nobles, and we're kind of shooting the shit on it. But if you're interested in it, just go for it. Have fun. It's simple. It's kind of fun. You can imagine your big VR adventure, I think, and you're gonna hear a lot about it because apparently they're making a movie as well. So don't let me particularly turn you away from the book, but
No, definitely read the book. It's fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
read. Like, despite everything I'm saying here, when I was reading it, I was so engrossed in it. I couldn't wait to get done with work and like come home and just like read some more
Yeah.
and like see what was gonna happen next. It was very like it was a fun read.
I have fun. But the thing is, like, it feels like a video game. So for me, yeah, like it's kind of like walking a. Actually, it feels a lot like. I mean, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and watching Twitch and etc. etc. It kind of feels like the same. Like you have a company, you have an adventure, and you're kind of looking at somebody playing a walkthrough of a game that's kind of like simple and fun, and you're just like, okay, cool, that happened. And every time he goes to the story, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the big twist, and everything is kind of expected, but it's still kind of fun to go for the ride. And let's see, we have a couple comments. It's going to be one of the largest movies of all time. I don't know.
I don't know, yeah, but listen to Mr. T here. Buy the book, you fool. Right?
Sure.
Buy the damn book. You will love it. Don't let Ominous with his grumpy speech here deceive you.
You
This
should-
book is fantastic.
He's just drinking the haterade.
You should probably do that in 1 second because otherwise I'm going to have the last word. I keep reading my notes and there's things that I cannot not say because I took note of them and I love them. There is 2 quotes.
I love the quotes.
Yeah, I already mentioned one of them, but this one is, so at the end, he finally gets the girl. They're going to be together. This is amazing. And he's going to, first kiss. So this one first. First kiss, he says, it felt wonderful, like getting struck by lightning. And I'm pretty certain getting struck by lightning does not feel wonderful.
I think he means like it was electric, but it's such a cliche. It's such a freaking cliche.
No, I know. It's just in one sentence, it felt wonderful, like getting struck by lightning. Okay.
Yeah.
Solid. It's
I
solid.
guess this is just to illustrate how how good Ernest Cline is as a writer, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to be poetic, and totally missed.
That's what he
it. You know,
came up
he's like,
with.
almost.
I have the best one actually, finally, and that's good because it's the last one that I have, and chronologically as well. It's almost at the very, very end. So he becomes the ruler of. I mean, we're full on spoiler. Oh, by the way, Arcade Animal, you've heard a lot of spoilers now because you're coming out the last time. But I have the one final spoiler for this is he is the ruler of the entire thing, and he says he plays less now because I guess that's what happens when you just beat the game and you spend your entire life in the MMORPG. You realize that real life is more important than games. Another one of the nerd shaming kind of a little bit.
Well, he has a girlfriend now, so
Yeah.
you know. Now
Yeah,
that
that's
he's
the thing. Well, and I have a girlfriend. I don't need video games anymore. And the quote is like, so he spent
being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know. He spent more time in the real world, and he says, it's also the only place you can find happiness because reality is real.
Oh, that's so big. Bad. Dude,
There is in this book like a sentence that says, because reality is real.
No, this is just like so.
Oh no, we just killed Thiago. Oh,
Sorry, I don't know what happened.
no, I think both of you dropped, so I think Skype betrayed us because I seem to be online.
Damn you, Skype!
Yeah.
I'm back, bitches.
Yeah, it's Skype. Skype betrayed us. Skype, negative publicity, advertising, you're bad. So yeah, that happened.
In a world
In
where
a world.
Microsoft does not buy Skype.
In any world, like in every possible dimension and multi-universe, Skype still kind of doesn't always work.
All right.
So that's cool. That gives you a little bit of closure. I'm glad it went so fast. I was not expecting, because if I drop off the stream, like it's gonna take us 10 minutes to start and having anything.
Yeah. All right. But
That's-
again, I think. Well, let me see. I think that's pretty much what I would like to say about the book.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Yeah, we should do. We don't have particularly like you don't have your trivia or whatever. We didn't prepare that thing. I don't think we particularly need to look into this unless you have things ready to shoot at us. Did you have a?
Oh yeah, it could have been fun to do trivia.
Is it? I don't know. Do you have some?
Yeah, we'll have it. Remember, I reboot my computer, right?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, if you.
Yeah, I know, but it's pretty easy to
It's
get
pretty
it.
straightforward.
Yep. Just clicking on the link to get it. All right.
Okay,
So you're gonna
You
choose
got it?
rapid
Got it.
fire
Got
like
it.
random stuff from the 80s.
what do we win? I want to win something. What if I get it right? What do I win from if I beat Ominous?
You can come next time, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right. Let me shoot one for you guys so we see how this is good. So, in Ready Player One, what is the name of the external corporation seeking to gain control of the Oasis?
Oh, that's funny. It's if I was paying attention, extremely simple. Isn't it AOI or IOI? It's not the name of the corporation.
What do you think?
No, it's shit. I'm trying to think of the name now. It's like something Innovative Industries, Innovation Labs,
Well, that should be
Evil.
IOI then.
It's something like that. It's something with innovation.
IOI is their IDs. It's their
Innovative Online
innovation
Initiative. Something.
And
Some-
you both are correct. It's IOI, Innovation Online Initiative, or something like that.
Initiatives, yeah. Something like that.
It was
Alright.
indeed Innovation Online Innovations.
Innovative Innovations Online.
Okay, well, this one was pretty.
All right. That was easy, right?
Yeah.
That's
let's-
pretty straightforward since we
yeah,
struggled
let's-
with that.
All right. What does Wade, also known as Percival, learn is behind the bookshelf in Anorak's castle?
So that's the silver key now. right?
Let's
It's
see.
it's the second puzzle.
Okay, I will give you 4 choices then, just because this is too broad.
Wait,
So the choices
in the,
are
in the castle, in Anarch's castle.
Yeah.
Say that
Behind
again,
the
though.
book.
That's
Behind
yeah.
the bookshelf in Anorak's castle, what does he find?
Well, that's isn't that the room with all the antiques, all the game consoles? It's gotta be something around those lines. Either that or
We should hear our 4 choices.
yes, that's
2 misses right
that's
now.
probably- yeah, a dance club, another secret room filled with all sorts of buttons and switches, a comically large red button, or a
Congressional?
congregation
Okay.
singing Amazing Grace.
yeah,
It's the red button, isn't it?
yeah, it's gotta be the red button then.
Red
It's the red
button.
button.
Let's see.
It's the
And
red button.
come on, Goodreads, help me out here, dude.
I thought you were the fanboy. You loved the book. You should know the answers.
What's behind
Yeah,
the bookshelf?
It's the red button. I remember it now. It's his power, right? That he can
Comically
shut
large.
the whole thing off whenever he wants.
and you guys are right again. There we go. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, okay. I think the other questions are kind of silly as this one, guys. Let's let's move on. We have someone asking question to us or something or no?
No, I'm just looking at Arcade Animals icon. I don't know what your icon is, dude. It looks like a dude on a snowboard, or I don't know what that is.
Right, I'm trying to see too, but I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
I
guys have
can't
any
see.
questions, we're kind of wrapping up now. So if you have anything you wanna ask or say about the book, now is your time. And after we're finished,
Or if you want Mr. T to say something in his fabulous voice.
it's like how's it called?
Oh, it's like that one
want
awesome
some
guy.
donuts.
Honest trailers.
Yeah, on his trailers.
What was that?
But the
Well, it depends. You have 3 choices, right? You can have like the deep voice, you can have the godlike voice, and you can have both together.
I don't
So
know
that's-
if I distinguished both of them. Did you do both? already?
Seriously? Yeah.
no,
all
I
right.
can't. Can you do one,
One
and
is
the
a
other?
robot,
then-
right? Sort of
Okay.
a robot.
Deep voice.
I want some donuts.
All right. Now,
Do you think the
godlike-
honest trailer guy is using the deep voice? No, right?
Probably.
That's his
no,
voice.
no.
it's just
I don't know.
it's just got a crazy like deep voice.
That's his voice.
Yeah, maybe it is. All right, and then you
Very
have
betrayed if he was like using something.
you have the godlike voice that say, "I own this place."
Yeah,
You see, it's just like crazy. Now you have both together.
yeah, the first one sounded like kind of the paladin in a Dungeon and Dragon quest, and this one is just
And
the
this one is to show you who the god is.
yeah, that's the.
All right, I see it. I see it. I had to be walked through it though. I wouldn't have caught it on my own.
Yeah, that's just a couple effects that I put together.
Awesome. Okay.
I think we have wrapped
I
this
think
up.
that's a show
Should we-
now. I think we've run out of sound
yeah,
effects.
that's good. That's
Awesome.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, I want to say one thing last. If you're watching this, don't get lost in this. Just go buy the book and read it if you didn't already. It's super fun to read. If you're not ominous, you're gonna love it. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I had enough
But
fun. It's just like
I think you should read. You shouldn't listen to the book, I guess,
I
unless you.
agree. I agree. You should read it.
Yeah, unless you're positively sure that you love this kind of things, then you're okay. You can listen. But if you're just I think it's cool, geeky, nerdy pop culture, just read it. You're probably gonna love it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it spoiled it for me. Like, I probably would have that sort of bias. I think it made it more obvious when somebody was telling me the story, because it's kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's more like somebody's feeding it to me, and it looks like more real world, and I'm just hearing a lot of things that are kind of wonky. So maybe you detect it a little less from a book, but I don't know. Maybe the Josh Whedon would be. I mean, it was still fine. It was still fine. My idea of it is it's big dumb fun with no narration or character, but just a lot of kind of action and 80s trivia and a different take on Matrix that is a big video game basically. So it's got a bunch of kind of fun things that you wanna find in it. What do you think, Hans? What's your final verdict on the book?
I think my final verdict on the book is definitely, read it, approach it approach it knowing what it is. It's a light read. It's young adult fiction. It's fun. You know, don't go in there expecting to have your mind blown, read some amazing like sci-fi. It's not that. You're going to be disappointed if you go in with those types of expectations. If you just go in to read a fun book, you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I like how it's like young adult by virtue of being poorly written, because it's like very much not young adult at all. Like it's from the 80s.
No, I think it is young adult. No, I think there's. I mean, that's like a whole different discussion, right? Like, what is young adult? But I think it's like I think this is young adult fiction.
Yeah, I guess I would agree.
Because they're 19, I guess. But I mean, the thing is, yeah, okay.
I mean, it's kind of like when you think about it, like it's like Hunger Games. It's like all those books.
Yeah,
I see the common trait of having poor writing style and poor narration and poor characters, but yeah, they're young.
I think the one thing that described this book is I call books like this like a popcorn books.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's just like popcorn
totally a
movies.
popcorn book.
You just sit down and like without thinking you enjoying yourself.
Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah, it's totally
if you
a popcorn
expect
book.
Yeah, if you expect something more than that, then you might get disappointed. But if you just go for fun, that's it.
Yeah, I do wonder if they're gonna stay full on 80s for the movie though, because for people to go to the movies and to look at some like joust, I don't know.
No, I guarantee you that they're gonna do a better job than the book.
They're probably gonna do
Or
Pac-Man,
for-
you know.
yeah.
and,
Something like that.
like Donkey Kong, maybe.
I mean,
You're gonna replace him. Cool. Okay, well, we've been going for long enough, so I don't think we need to add any more of this. Do you guys have any goodbyes, and do you have anything you want to plug and say hi to anybody and advertise anything?
Nope. Just thanks to whoever was listening and joining us, and whoever is.
Yeah, we can find you on some robot dance floor somewhere on the sector 5.
On the dance world and the dancing sector. I'll be there.
Cool. That's
there
good.
you go. There you go.
Jago, anything?
All right. That's all. I like, as you see here, I like to talk. So feel free to call me anytime to discuss about anything even things that I don't know. I can probably discuss something. Don't worry about it.
You can probably find something to say.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think we'll try and probably do potentially other books, but I'm not certain about this because I kind of like to keep it geeky, but we can find some of those. And ideally, I'll try and write and whip up some video game reviews as well. That could be interesting.
And
yeah.
if anyone has any recommendations for things they want reviewed,
Oh, you
you
bet.
can always send those.
Yeah. So this is all going to happen on Responsible Gaming. You have all the links that have been sitting there for the entire show here, like my hands here, like far there. And so you can like follow Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, do like and subscribe, leave some comments and feedback. We're going to need that, obviously, and recommendations and etc. Yeah, it's been great having you tonight. Was that? Oh, we're both swerving in our chairs. Yeah, I'm probably definitely swerving in my chair. Yeah, that's one of the things that I used to give me composure and keep me busy for the 2 hours of the show. I'll try and keep that in check. Cool. Well, real-time feedback. We got real-time feedback. Thanks for that. It's true. I know I'm being finicky. That's it for tonight. So if you're all good, we're gonna say good night now, and we'll see you for next episode of the Responsibles or Responsible Gaming. Good night, play responsibly, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.